Hello everyone, how are you? Today we're gonna speak about the evaluation and its methods of measurement. The evaluation is the systematic investigation of the merit, worth, or significance of any object. In other words, the evaluation is the judgment of something based on its measurement. In communication, evaluation is highly important because it gives us useful information which helps us to work more efficiently. Evaluate to know if the communication objectives were achieved and how was our strategy. Also, we evaluate how efficiently the strategy has been executed. The benefits of the evaluation are the identification of the most effective strategies and tactics of a communication plan, the identification of mistakes and areas of improvement, the understanding of the results of a communication plan, and as well is a tool which helps us to improve. The evaluation is the last step of a communication plan, but it is part of a bigger process too. In this process, first of all, we need to make a plan. Then we implement this plan. After, we will evaluate the plan execution and its results. We will do that in order to get information about what we have done and to be able to improve. Next time, we will use what we have learned to make an improved plan. We will implement this plan and we will evaluate it again to be able to keep improving. So this process becomes a cycle. To evaluate the success of the stakeholders' communication of a company, it's necessary to pay attention to three different factors. Factors are the effectiveness, the economic budget, and the engagement. When we look at the effectiveness, we look at the marketing activity and if this one adds any value for the company client and other stakeholders. This value can be positive or negative. Logically, we aim to create positive value. If we are creating positive value, we will try to find a way to reinforce it. If we are creating negative value, we will identify the reasons to be able to fix it. Another aspect that we look is if we achieve all the specific objects of the communication. This will let us know which strategies work and which ones we need to improve or change. When we look at the economic aspect of the communication, we need to ensure that we don't spend more than the budget set to get our communication objectives. Also, we look at the benefits produced directly related with the communication activity. We can't forget that the main objective of a company is to make profits. Consequently, all the resources invested in the communication of the company have to be returned in some form. Otherwise, it will make no financial sense. For this reason, it is very important to evaluate the economic aspect of the communication. To be able to evaluate the engagement of a stakeholder with the company, we need to see how is the relation between them. To get engagement from a stakeholder, the relationship with it has to be satisfying for both parts. If the stakeholder is satisfied, will get more involved with the company and will look forward to maintain the relationship. The time for how long the relationship has been kept and the interest in continuing with it will tell us the level of engagement. When there is a high level of engagement, we see long-term relationships. The long-term relationships are more profitable than short-term relationships. To make a realistic evaluation and to have an objective point of view, we need to measure the results of the communication. By measuring, we attribute values to the results that help us to evaluate. Measuring the results accurately is very important because our knowledge of the situation and our evaluation will be based on it. If we make evaluation based on the wrong values, we will make the wrong decisions for the future. We can use different methods for measuring the effectiveness of the stakeholder marketing communication. If we want to measure the awareness that we got with an advertising campaign, we can use recognition test. This test consists in taking a sample of your customer target and make them some questions to find out what they remember in relation to an advertising campaign. With this technique, it is possible to know if they remember different things like the advertisement, the product advertised, the brand, the slogan, as well as if they like the communication or if this one creates any value for them. Let's say that we have used the image of Andy Murray in a poster to advertise the Wimbledon Championships. We will ask things like if they remember the poster and where they saw it, if they remember what was on the poster advertising. Also, we can ask if they like or dislike the poster. So, in this way, we can have information about the effectiveness of this particular communication campaign. The pros of this method are: it is very accurate technique, so you can rely on it. It is possible to get very specific information. The cost of this technique are not very expensive. On the other hand, the cons are problems with false claiming. The sample needs to be representative, otherwise the information will not be relevant. Biased responses or biased instructions. Results-based measurement. Other method to measure the effectiveness of the communication is monitoring data that can be directly related with the objectives of the communication. If these objectives are based on specific stakeholder groups, we need to focus on the indicators relevant to these stakeholder groups. For example, if we make a communication campaign to motivate our employees, to know how effective it is, we can monitor the productivity of the employees and see how many of them leave the company. If the employees are more motivated, they should increase their productivity and less people will leave the company. The advantages of this method are: company has access to the data that needs to be monitored, and the results are 100% objective. The disadvantage of this method is that results of the performance can be motivated for a different reason, not just as a consequence of the communication that has been done before. Media exposure measurement. This method helps us to see how far can get our message through the media. It consists in monitoring the different media to find out if your company is mentioned, where is it mentioned, how many times, for how long, and what is the message. If, for example, we send a press release to the media saying that now some of the matches of the Wimbledon tournament will be played during the night, we will monitor the different media to see if they mention us and what is the opinion about our changes. Some of the pros of this method are: it is possible to see the effectiveness of the media, As well, it's possible to measure how far the message goes. Also, there is the possibility to measure the audience of the different media. On the other hand, some of the cons of this method are: it doesn't measure if the stakeholders are influenced by the message or their reaction. As well, it's very difficult to monitor all the media in which one we can be mentioned. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have enjoyed. Have a nice day.
Created using Powtoon.